Hello friends, welcome back to DigiTalk. So if you are a beginner of the DevOps, you are planning to learn the DevOps, or maybe you have started learning the DevOps, but you're confused on certain terms like CI and CD in the DevOps. Okay, because I had a discussion with multiple engineers. Okay, and they always get confused in the CI and CD. What exactly CI does and what exactly CD does? What is the difference between them? Okay, and what are the different phases where we work on the CI and CD? Okay, so to clear your doubt on that, okay, I am preparing this session, okay, where I will try my best to explain the CI and CD in a very basic way. Okay, so I have posted many videos on the DevOps, specifically on Kubernetes, DevOps, this Docker tool. Okay, and going further, I am going to post a few more videos specifically related with the CI/CD and the related works. Okay, so this is the first session on that, and then here I will try my best to explain you or to clear your doubt on CI and CD. Okay, so let us begin with the software development lifecycle, which we call as a SDLC. Okay, so how SDLC works whenever we work on the any of the new project, okay, or for any new client. Okay, so the first phase is requirement analysis. Before we develop any kind of a software for any of the client, okay, what we do the requirement analysis. What is the exact requirement of the client? Okay, and based on that we prepare certain blueprints like some low level diagrams, high level diagrams. Okay, and along with that we create a multiple requirement gathering documents. Okay, and once we are sure that okay we have complete details of the requirements, okay, so now we can begin with the development. Okay, and then a phase come where we do the development, right? And then during the development we work on the multiple modules. Okay, in a single project you will see there are multiple developers are working, and each and every developers work on the different modules. It's not possible for a single person to work on the complete project, right? That's why we divide a big project into the modules, and then different developers works on their own modules, right? And after that, once the development of a certain module is complete, then we do a different kind of a testings. This could be a individual testing, or it could be a integration testing. So individual testing means that whenever a particular developer is working on a single module, then that particular developer can develop the functionality, and then he or she can test the functionality of that particular module which she or he has developed. Right. Now, similarly, we have multiple developers, and each developer is working on the independent modules, but at the last, it is going to be a single project. That means each and every module that has been developed by the different developers, it has to be integrated with each other to provide a single holistic functionality of the project, which is according to the client requirement. So that means after this individual module testing, we have a integration testing where we have to test the integrations between all of the modules that has been developed by the different developers. Third stage could be that the integration with the external systems. Your project may need to be integrated with the third-party softwares or APIs. So, but that is the last stage. Before that, we have to make sure that whatever the models that we have been developed by the different developers are able to communicate with each other properly, and there is no bug or problems in that particular area. That is called the integration testing, right? So once the integration testing is completed, or all kind of a testing that has been completed, okay, then we release the code for the deployment, right? So when we do the deployment, so again the different phases are there. It will first go to quality, and then maybe after that it will go to the pre-productions. Okay, and then we when the it is passed in the pre-production, then it goes to the production, right? So now specifically, there are two important phases in CI/CD. One is the development, and second is the operations. So development means when we are doing the development of the code or the software. Operations, that means when the project is deployed in a production environment and it is in under maintenance phase. Okay, that means we are doing the regular operations, day-to-day operations of the with respect to the code. Okay, now throughout the cycle of the project, you will have a multiple kind of enhancement in your code. There could be a bug fixes. That means your code will get changed or get enhanced with time to time. For that, you have to follow the same cycle. Whenever you are doing any kind of a changes in your code for bug fixes or maybe for the functionality enhancement, then it has to go again all of the phases, right? It will has to go in the testings. When the all kind of a testing has been completed, unit testing, integration testing, all these things done, then it will again go for the deployment phase, and from there it will again go to testing, and then for your quality pre-production, and then it will go to production. This is a repetitive cycle that you have to follow throughout the development till the operations, right? So DevOps, which is a short form of development and operations, That means it is specifically related with the activities that we are doing between development till the operations. That means till we are doing the development of code, and in between whatever the phases are there for any kind of a testing that we are doing, and then the till code is going for the deployment in the production, right? So now one thing is very clear. DevOps is a kind of development and operations. That means it is a process or a method or technologies or tools that we used between your development and operation phases, okay, to streamline the process, to automate the process, okay, and for the lot of to get a different lot of kind of a benefits, right? So that means they are integral parts of DevOps, aiming to automate and streamline the software delivery process. That means whatever the process that we have been following for the delivery of the code from development till the maintenance in production, okay, we have to adopt certain kind of a technologies and tools, okay, or practices. Aim is to automate the complete developmental operations phases and then streamline the software delivery process. So this is called a software delivery process which we are developing, and then we are delivering it to the production environment. So that means we need a certain kind of a tool technology in between the development and operation phases. For that we can do the different kind of automations, and then we can streamline the software delivery process. So continuous integration, which is called the CI, and the continuous delivery and continuous deployment, there are two terms with the CD, are practices that enable faster, more reliable development, testing, and deployment of application, system, and infrastructure. Right. So that means with the help of CI and CD, we are doing a lot of enhancement or a lot of automations. Okay. So the whatever the phases that you have between your development and maintenance phases, that all the phases are getting automated. Okay. It is to save the time and to improve the quality of your delivery of the services that we are delivering by the automations, avoiding any kind of a manual interventions in between, right? To overall improve the experience of the development and operations phases. So this is called the CI and CD. So what exactly means of CI and CD? Let me explain you in detail. So continuous integration, in simple analogy, if we say, imagine a team working on a group of project. You have a different kind of a engineers in your team, and you have a different group of the teams, and then each team member add their part of a shared document every day. So there could be chance that there could be a large documentation which need to be updated from the multiple engineers from the multiple group of teams. Okay, so you could have a document in a shared drive, okay, and where each team member from the different groups are updating their own part in the shared document, right? And after every update, someone check the document to ensure everything is in order, no typos, formatting issues, or broken links or anything. Okay, so one person is doing a certain kind of a validation in his docs at the last of the day, okay, to ensure that everything is fine in the document. It is up to the mark. So this is similar to CI, frequently merging and checking the work to avoid problem later. Similarly, when we do a development, okay, where I said that you have multiple developers and each developer is working on the different separate modules, and at the last, what we do, we check in that code in a central repository, which is called the version control tools, right? So once your code is in version control tool is pushed by all the developers, then we initiate the testings. So whatever the changes or modifications or update that has been done by the developer, that need to be tested, right? So what we are doing with the CD, when the code is check-in to the central repository, to the version control tool by each and every developer, okay, then instead of picking up the code and doing a certain kind of a manual testing of each and every code, okay, we do a certain kind of a automations, okay, where we have a set of some certain set of rules which initiate the testing. Okay, and then we automatically perform the testing without any manual interventions. So actually what has happened that when we do in the development, okay, there are a lot of kind of changes that we do in the code in a day in a multiple times. Okay, and it's impossible for each and every change you are doing the in your code, and then you have to someone has to again run and done such manual testings each and every time whenever whatever the developers are doing a small kind of a changes in the code. It's not feasible, right? So you need a certain kind of a process, or you can say an automation, where wherever the developers are checking the code in the central repository, okay, then automation, the testing should have been done with the help of certain kind of a automations instead of the manual, right? So continuous integration is a practice in software development where developers frequently integrate or merge their code changes into a shared repository, and each integration is automatically verified by running automated builds and tests. So that means whenever a developer is push the code in the central repository, okay, then immediately when the code is checked in, a pipeline will be triggered, which is a CI pipeline. Okay, and what is the work of pipeline? to preparation, build, and test. That means with the help of CI, we are initiating certain kind of automations that will automatically perform the code testing for you. You don't need to do any kind of a manual testing. If suppose that 10 developers has done a check-in or push up the code in the central repository, then the any kind of a testing that is required specifically for those modules, like in UAT testing, individual testing, or maybe the integration testing of all of the modules, so whatever kind of a testing that we have to do, it has to be automated. And as soon as the code has been checked into a central repository, automatically a pipeline will be triggered, which is called a CI pipeline, and that pipeline will automatically perform all of the kind of a test scenarios that you have automated in your system. Okay, and it will automatically make the code ready to deploy for the production. That means we are not doing any kind of a manual interventions for doing any kind of a testing when the code has been checked into the central repository, and that is called the CI, continuous integration. That means we are complete testings we are doing with the help of automations. Right. So now what is the output of CI? The output of CI is CD. That is called the continuous delivery and continuous deployment. So there is a slight difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment that I will explain you. Okay. But the important thing what we understand here, CI is a continuous integration, that is a kind of a testing that is performed automatically whenever the code is checked in or pushed into the central repository. And the output of continuous integration is your code which you can easily deploy in your production. That means you can say ready to use code, right? So key benefits are early error detection. So bugs are identified quickly because the code is tested frequently. So that means you don't need to worry about that. Okay, I'm doing some small change, and then again someone has to go and do the complete testing again for that small changes. Okay, you don't need to bother about that one. You can do any kind of a changes in your code, and you can push it to the central repository, and the process will automatically perform the tests. Okay, and the result of the test will be immediately shared with you. There could be an automation process where the whenever the test is performed, you can set the alerts, okay, and the result will be get emailed to you, whatever the result, whether it's a pass, failed, or whatever. Okay, better collaboration, teams work together more effectively as integration happen regularly. So integration, we know that when I said that the multiple developers are working in a single code, and they have to be communicate with each other properly, right, for to make sure that their modules are in testing or integrating with each other properly. So that collaboration will be better, because whenever a code is checking by the any of the developer, okay, so then they don't need to worry about the collaboration with the other team guys, okay, because that will automatically taken care by your automation. Time saving, because fixing small issues early is easier than fixing big issues later. So whenever even you have a small kind of issues, you can fix it immediately, okay, without waiting for to get a bigger, it create a bigger issue later time, right? So now we have a continuous delivery, okay, and apart from that, continuous deployment. So let me explain you. So continuous delivery, which is CD, is a practice in software development where code changes are automatically prepared for release to production. Okay, it is very clear from the name as well. Delivery, that means you're doing a certain kind of a delivery of your code, and you can do the delivery of your code once it is ready to use. Okay, ready to deploy in the production. So continuous delivery is a practice in the software development where what we are doing, code changes are automatically prepared for release to production. That means whatever the code we are getting as an output from the CI, continuous integration, that code has to be ready for the production releases. So after continuous integration, ensure that code is working correctly. CD automate the process of delivering that code to staging or production environment. So CD is taking care of delivering the code to staging and production environment. Okay, but how that code is getting delivered, I will tell you in the next slide. But important thing what you have to understand, continuous delivery is a practices, or you can say it is a process of delivering that code to staging and production environment. It is making your code to be ready. Okay, the goal of CD is to ensure that software is always in a ready to deploy state, and deployment to production are simple, quick, and reliable. So the meaning of continuous delivery is it ensure that your code is always up and ready for the release to your pre-production and production environment. Okay, and are simple, quick, and reliable. Now, when we talk about the continuous deployment, that means we are actually doing the deployment of the code in the production, which was the output of CI, and continuous delivery was taking care of to that to ensure that code is always up and ready for the deployment in the production. right? So that means continuous deployment is the next step after continuous delivery. In continuous deployment, every code changes that passes all automated testing is automatically released to the production environment without requiring any manual approval. This is the main difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment. In the continuous deployment, what we are doing, we are doing the release or we are developing or deploying the code in the production without requiring any manual approval. That means it's a complete automated process. When your code is pushed into a central repository, it will be picked up by the CI. It will do the complete end-to-end testing. Once the testing is done, then your code will be ready, okay, for release in the production. And then there is another process which is called the CD, continuous deployment, which will automatically pick up the code and it will automatically deploy the code in your production and pre-production environment. There is no manual intervention from till the state of your code that has been checked into a central repository till the code deployed in your pre-production and production environment. It's a complete automated process, and that is the work of CI and CD. Okay, so the goal of continuous deployment is to make update and fixes available to users as soon as they are ready, ensuring fast and seamless delivery of new features. That means your code is always ready. Okay, and then automated process will take it and then deploy in your production and non-production environment. So let me show you some figures and that will get a complete clarity. The first phase is code and build. Okay, and code and build phase could be agile. Okay, it not be in a particular sequence. Different developers can work independently on each and every modules. Then the code is then checked into a central repository, and then we perform an integration and different kind of a testings, and that is called the continuous integration. When we ensure that code is ready to deliver in the pre-production and production environment, that is called the continuous delivery. And once the code is automatically deployed in your pre-production and production environment without any manual intervention, that is called the continuous deployment. And this complete process is the part of your development and operations, which is called the DevOps. Right. So now, if you see specific difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment. So what we have said, in the continuous delivery, we get the output from the CI and we ensure that the code is always ready for the deployment in your pre-production and production environment, right? So that means in the continuous delivery phase, we have the code with us, okay, which we can deploy in the production. Now, depend on the requirement, if you would like to go for a manual deployment of your code, once it is ready, okay, then you do a manual deployment in your production, which is called a continuous delivery, which is, you can say, a part of continuous delivery, because the code which is ready for the deployment, we are doing a manual deployment in the production. But if you are doing the automation of the deployment as well, that means there is no manual process in between. As soon as your code is ready, which is the output of CI, okay, then another process will take care of that one to release that code in your pre-production and production environment. So that is completely an automated process. Okay, there is no manual intervention, and that is called the continuous deployment, right? So that means continuous integration, build, test, and merge. And when we talk about the manual release of the code in your production, or when we ensure that the code is ready for delivery to the production, it is called continuous delivery. And when it is deployed in the production automatically with the help of tools, it is called the continuous deployment. Now, if you do a quick difference comparison between your continuous delivery and continuous deployment, so in continuous delivery, which require manual approval after the testing, right? As I said, in a continuous delivery, we are doing a manual deployment. So that means it needs a certain kind of a manual approval. And continuous deployment is fully automated. There is no manual approval is needed. Continuous delivery ensure that code is always ready for the deployment. Okay, and continuous deployment automatically deploy tested code to the production. Right now, in continuous delivery, teams that want to manual check before giving or going live. Okay, what we do in the continuous delivery, as I said, we do a manual deployment. So that means if there is a manual step in between, there could be a team which want to do a certain kind of a checks before deploying in the production. But if you're sure that, okay, your system is foolproof, there is no problem in your code, okay, it can be easily be deployed automatically in your production or non-production environment, then you can go for the continuous deployment, which is called the teams that trust their automated systems, right? So this is the complete differences between continuous integration and continuous delivery. Thank you.